Good morning. I'm speaking to you from the traditional territory of the signatories of Treaty 7, and I acknowledge the Métis people of Alberta who share a deep connection with this land. Like many Albertans, I oppose the UCP charging people to use Kananaskis Country. Albertans own that beautiful and distinctly Albertan landscape, and we should all be able to use it freely. What's even more galling is that the money the UCP is taking from Alberta families is not being put to use to conserve this area, as the UCP originally claimed. I've heard from many Albertans that they don't see this money being put to good use in protecting the park land. In fact, yesterday we learned that a good portion of the K-Pass revenue is going to enforcing the K-Pass. This doesn't mean additional conservation officers. We're talking about a private firm driving around and scanning license plates. According to Minister Isaac, of the $12 million she is taking from Alberta families every year, fully $2 million is going to pay for a private security company to enforce those payments. So remember, when you're forced to pay your fee, while the UCP enjoys a $13 billion surplus, they're charging you $90 to pay someone to make sure that you paid your $90. It's absurd. It's a waste of Albertans' money and another insult to families who just want to enjoy the great outdoors without the UCP's hand in their pockets. This is a good moment for the minister to admit that this has been a terrible mistake and to abolish the fee altogether. But like most Albertans, I don't have much confidence in the UCP's ability to recognize and correct its own mistakes. An Alberta NDP government will abolish this absurd fee, leave those $90 in your pocket, and return Pay Country back into K Country. Thank you, and I'll take your questions.
Yeah, it's Lamington, CBC News. What the promise was after, and now it's been 2 years, I think, of the fees. Is it 2 years?
Yes, I think so.
Right. Have there been any improvements? Is there any evidence of improvements? And beyond that, there was talk of hiring 40 conservation officers in this. So is there any evidence of any of these things actually happening?
There's no convincing evidence, Mike. That's the problem. When the government made an announcement that they had hired additional conservation officers, it wasn't clear how many of those were going to be dedicated to K Country.
Wait, the mic's off.
Oh.
The mic went off for your mic. Is it mine that's on? It was good for the speech, and then I went and asked the question, and now his mic is on. It's been on or off. So.
Test. Can you hear?
No, it's still off.
Are you good? Mine, I just might.
It's all right though. We do their speech and everything, but no, we're just having a mic. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yeah. Let me see if it's me.
It's off.
Actually, just the mic charge.
Mic died.
So hold on.
We can get you the audio.
Let's go left. How do you say first?
We can get you the audio feed.
No worries. No worries.
All right. So to repeat your question, Mike, the question was.
No, it's still on.
Okay.
We can get you the audio.
Oh, okay. Go ahead then.
Okay. So to repeat your question, if I understood it correctly, was whether or not Albertans have seen any tangible improvements used with the money or created with the money that was collected from the Kananaskis fee and the conservation officers. So earlier this year, the government made an announcement that they had trained additional conservation officers with money from the Kananaskis Pass. But when questioned, it wasn't clear how many of those conservation officers were actually going to work in Kananaskis Country. And now we find out that a significant amount of the enforcement that's being done is done by a private company, that they're not conservation officers at all. So they've never really come clean on how many additional conservation officers have been trained with money from the Kananaskis Pass. Moreover, I'm hearing from Albertans who go to K Country all the time, they haven't seen any significant improvements on the ground. The garbage cans are overflowing, the outhouses need attention, the parking lots are still in rough shape, right? I've questioned the minister a number of times, the previous minister, and he's failed to be transparent with how he's spending how he spent the money collected from the K-Pass in the past.
What was the message campers sent to you as an MLA this summer? Did you hear back from constituents about what they saw, and what was the general reaction?
Yeah, I think people were disappointed, right? They had high hopes that they would see some significant improvements in Kananaskis Country with the introduction of the fee, and that's not the case, right? And now we find out that they're just being charged money that's being used to pay somebody to charge them them money, and that's been really frustrating for them. Everybody who goes to Kananaskis Country loves it deeply. They want to see it protected. They want to see it the facilities there improved, and that's not happening. And people think that they're not getting their money's worth, and we agree with them. That's why we would scrap the pass and just use general revenue, which there is lots of these days, to make those improvements that people are demanding in the area.
All right, we're just going to start out one quick audio issue before we go to questions on the phones. So, just a reminder for those joining us on Zoom to use the raise hand function to get to the question queue, and for those joining us on the phones to use the *9 function to get to the question queue. Our first question comes from Sam Kaiser from CTV. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, hopefully you can hear me now. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if you had already answered this question. My audio wasn't working properly over Zoom there. I'm wondering if you find it reasonable or not. We're seeing around $850,000 being used here out of a $7.1 million revenue since April to go towards making sure that people are paying for their K-passes.
Was that the end? Sorry, Safe. Was that the end of the question, or did you get cut off there again?
Yeah, no, that was the question.
Okay. Sorry, we're just having a few audio problems. I just wanted to make sure. No, I think it's unreasonable to pay this kind of money to a private company to enforce a government fee. That's not what Albertans were told when the K-Pass was introduced. And I think they are rightly upset that so much money is being used to hire a private company to enforce the K-Pass. People wanted to see money being spent on improving the facilities in Kananaskis Country, enhancing conservation efforts, and that's not what's happening here. And so people have the right to be upset.
And a follow-up, Safe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while it is a controversial pass, I have seen people on the other side argue that these user fees are reasonable because, you know, to your point, if you were to stop the user fees and go back to the system that we had previously, why would it be fair that, let's say, someone else in Alberta who might never even make it out to K Country be paying to you know, keep these places nice and tidy and functional and all that?
Well, Safe. It's because it's public. These are public parks. It's public land. Albertans pay taxes to care for our public institutions. We do the same with hospitals. We do the same with schools. We should do the same with parks. We are collectively paying for the conservation of spaces that are important to us so that we can enjoy them collectively as Albertans and pass them down to our children and our grandchildren.
Anything further, Steve?
No, that's it. Thanks so much.
All right, we'll do one last pass for questions in person, and then one last pass on the phones. Just a reminder for those on Zoom to use the raise hand function, and for those on the phones to use the star 9 function to get to the question queue. And with no further questions today, we will wrap. Thanks, folks.
Great.
Much for watching, and to learn more, check out albertasfuture.ca.